gives all these extra accolades. Oh,
Daddy, count.
Kayla, I'm recording. I told you that. You can't. You walk in here. We're not doing that right now. Goodness gracious. Go ahead.
all right. Yeah, just school stuff. Typical in today's world. Typical.
So I missed what you said though. Too many times you recognize what?
Just discrepancies with teachers and how they treat certain kids. That's all.
Okay.
This kid just happens to be mine this time.
Ah.
And kids are very sensitive. They pick up on when they're not getting called on, and other kids are when they see other kids getting heaped with all kinds of accolades, and they're not. Kids pick up on stuff like that.
Right.
Um, Especially mine. Zaire is very observant, so just another thing to handle.
Okay. So something happened, and now you're going to address it.
Yeah, because it's been going on for a while now, and I kind of hold on one second. As the street sweeper goes by. Before I make a move on certain things as far as what affects my kids, I like to make sure I don't jump the gun.
Mm-hmm.
I like to observe it for a while, especially when it comes to people who deal with their education and things that can potentially harm them long term.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to make sure it's not just me, that it's legitimate before I come out with something.
Right.
And not just with the kids. I try to do that with everybody and give people the benefit of the doubt. And even with officiating, we have officials who may be quick to give a T because they don't like the way something is said, or they don't like the way someone's tone is. Uh, but it helps with experienced officials if we know this is the person, that's the way they talk. It's not personal.
Right.
Like if you're just typically a loud person and the whole game you're yelling, hey, hey, get up, get up, get up, 5 out, 5 out. And then someone comes over, the coach comes over to you and say, AC, timeout. He's not yelling at you to call a timeout as if you're ignoring him and he's trying to get your attention. He's just a loud person who's yelling to make sure you can hear him say timeout,
Right.
versus the latter. So
Right.
I try to live life that way and make sure that I give benefited people the benefit of the doubt until I understand how they are and where they're coming from. And I've given the benefit of the doubt on this one since school started.
Mhm.
It's not getting, it's too many discrepancies. Um,
Wow. Okay.
so we have to go address that after we finish. But yeah, just something else.
Got you. So, welcome to the Collective Podcast. This is episode 36. We are happy that you are tuning in, and we got a lot to get to. We obviously already started. Hey, let me ask you guys, you ever had that friend that just almost gets there on time all of the time and just never gets there on time any of the time? That's that dude right there. Right there. That's Trey Hop. Been knowing him most of his life, and this is just, mosey on in. 12:05 Pacific. Not like we're going live at 12 or anything.
Hey
Hey, the
man, he's a
Collective
superstar.
Podcast. I am AC from LA. He is Baby Hair 562, and uh, he is Trey Hop.
Oh, champion Dodgers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
representing the National League. Okay.
absolutely.
The Los Angeles Dodgers World Series.
Nothing, Rod. Nothing.
No, I haven't been shopping yet. It's coming.
Going to put on your Washington.
It's coming.
Nationals.
Your national.
Yeah, you can wear your 2019 stuff for the Nationals, right?
I'm a Dodgers fan, brother.
Look at that crest. Look at that crest.
There.
Yeah. So Dodgers. I mean, I guess we could, okay. First of all, how's everybody doing? I know, Rod, you gotta talk to the teachers today for Zaire, but how's everybody before we get into sports, before we get into our poll? By the way, Rodney never voted, so I guess we'll learn it. We'll learn on air. We always know how TreVon feels.
That almost votes, but then he decided not to vote. I wonder why. The late this week.
But let me ask, how's everybody doing? Let's start with that.
Great. No complaint. I'm breathing, man. I'm good. As long as I'm breathing, I'm always good.
I'll say this. For me, on a podcast day, I can always relax about 6 or 7 minutes in because I know that Trey is comfortably in and Rod has his audio fixed. And so we rolling. Now, mind you, Rod will probably do the Battlestar Galactica, the Battlestar Galactica later on in the episode where he's talking like this. But for now, good to go. Good to go. I got some news about my stepdaughter. I'll tell you guys in a minute. But Trey, how are you?
I'm good, man. Like I said, same thing, Rod, man. I'm alive. I'm breathing. My family's healthy. That's all I ask for, man.
All right.
COVID-free.
All right. So my stepdaughter is killing the game in school. She is ahead of her entire class with everything that she's doing. And she was initially behind on her ARS, which is Accelerated Reader Series. I'm not sure what the S stands for, but she was initially behind. And then once we buckled down, she kicked in the door, exceeded all expectations, and completed everything before the first trimester was up. So shout out to her. Congratulations, Braylon. I love what you're doing. My daughter, Kayla, is going to turn 3 on election day. So that's Tuesday. And then she will start school as a fully potty trained individual on the 9th. So
she got that potty down.
Oh yeah, she's killing the game. Got her some new underwear. Like we got to get rid of the training underwear. Too bulky when you already know what you're doing, right? So
right.
I got her some new underwear. Brianna got her some new underwear. It's amazing. We only use the diapers at night, for bedtime at this point. And I know Rodney gave me some remedies for that, but we're not really ready to wake up in the middle of the night. So later for that. For now, diaper at night. So anyway, shout out.
How many days a week is she gonna be going?
5.
5 days?
Yeah. She's
going.
And so the situation for her is no adults are allowed no parents, no adults at all are allowed in the school. The kids teach themselves. No, just kidding. No parents are allowed inside of the school. You drop your kid off at the gate, and then whichever worker gets walked in, they take a temperature of everybody, that whole thing. And so we're going to try it out. Braylon's in school at home. Kayla is going to go to school. I let Brianna convince me, so I'm in support of it. So we'll see how it goes. Again, episode 36, the Collective Podcast.
Hold on, real quick. How are you? You told us how the girls were doing.
Thank you, and Brianna's well too. I am great. I'm kicking off some other aspects to my business, Recon Credit Repair. People seem to like my Legal Hustle hoodies, so I had a couple of purchases of the hoodie recently, so that's good. I had a coaching call today with one of my business coaches, and boy, she put me up on so much game. It's a very exciting time, and then my marketing campaign is going to kick off the week of the 9th. So yeah, when Kayla goes back to school, my marketing campaign that was supposed to start in July is now finally going to start in November. So I'm super excited about that. Super excited about things that are happening in the business. And, you know, relationships great. Brianna's going out of town. And so Kayla and I are going to hang out for Halloween. And we're going to go, my sister Danielle's going to come over. And she's got a costume for Kayla. And so we're going to hang out. I don't know what we're doing, but I'm letting Danielle lead that. I'm just along for the ride. So, yeah, things are well. You know, the podcast is rolling. And, you know, the Lakers were already champions. And then the Dodgers put it down. Like I told y'all, Mookie and I were coming to this town to put it down. And what happened? What happened? So I'm feeling great, man. I'm feeling great. Thanks for asking. So, episode 36 of the Collective Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Feel free to comment below if you've got any comments, if you got any questions, if you got any concerns. You know, hop on in, tell a friend. You can share the podcast right now and have other people hop on. Again, we are ready to get down to it. So, fellas, we'd be remiss if we didn't start with the World Series. Rodney is a lifelong Dodger fan. Trey is a lifelong Dodger fan. I got here in February, but they know that I'm passionate whenever I'm a fan. And so I picked the Dodgers to win as soon as Mookie was traded. So that's before Trey or Rodney. And then Trey felt good about it. And then Rodney picked the Nationals. And then ultimately, when all the other teams lost, Rodney finally said, okay, I guess I'll take the Dodgers over Tampa. So
Really?
Here we are. Here we are.
All right.
Okay. Well
So
then
like I was
hold on,
telling
hold on,
AC,
Rod. Hold on, Rod. So Trey is telling me to come to his house for Halloween. So in that case, I may not have Danielle come out here just for us to drive that way. So I'll talk to you about that offline and figure things out with Danielle. But that's good. That's good information.
Sweet.
So, all right, go ahead, Rod.
Like I was telling AC yesterday, if you've been a Dodger fan like me and you suffered through those Frank McCourt years where they were using the Dodgers as their like I don't know what's a good way to put it, but they were using them as kind of like a credit card for their shopping sprees and other ventures. Then
I think
have to
they
be
were using them to buy their Birkin bags. I think that's what you said to me the other day.
Man, they were getting everything. They were running the Dodgers like death row, as I saw a meme about about the Lakers at one time. They were running it like death row records. It was a mess. It was a mess.
Just so we're clear, that's neither Trey nor AC talking about death row records. Suge, that is
all right.
That is Rodney.
You are still well connected.
Yeah.
Hey, we got family. We got family watching.
Hey, E-Hop, what up, brother?
What up? Yeah. So we suffered through some bad years, man.
Neither Trey nor AC talking about death row records. Suge, that is. Go ahead, Rod. My bad.
Early playback.
Right.
But yeah, man, I gotta tip my hat to Magic, man, because everything he touches turns to gold. He took a lot of heat with the Lakers, with
Alonzo Ball
giving up his stake with the Lakers to buy into the Dodgers. I mean, people were coming at Magic with every move he made, and he hired all of those people that the Dodgers have working right now to get that championship, and brought LeBron. And then he hollered at Guggenheim when other people had other groups. I mean, like, we can't forget, there were like 7 or 8 other groups bidding for the Dodgers when Frank McCourt was putting it up. Strong groups, not just any old body. I think Joe Torre had a group too, right? The former manager for the Yankees. He had his own ownership group. And the media was kind of pushing for him to get it. You know, the media can be hell on whoever and could be favorable to whoever. Um, so, the media plays a big part in swaying public opinion on who gets new contracts as far as players, who gets fired, who gets traded. People listen. So, they weren't really pushing for Magic to get the deal. And he jumped with Guggenheim and they made it happen. So I'm proud of Magic, man, and glad that he got a chance to see everything that he was putting together come through directly or indirectly. When I
Right.
speak of indirectly, I speak of the Dodgers because he didn't stay, but he's the one who brought Rob Pelinka in there on Kobe's endorsement as far as knowing talent, which Pelinka does know talent, and Kobe was correct in that. Um, but Magic brought those people in, and people say, well, why would the Clippers, trade their whole roster for uh, PG-13? Well,
Right.
the Lakers did the same thing with AD.
Right.
The same move that Magic was gonna make, Pelinka actually made it. They were
Right.
like, no, don't trade Brandon Ingram and this person and that person. No. History says with Jerry West that when you have a big time free agent, you go after that free agent because rookies are and people in the draft are not proven unless you have a surefire. If you got a
Right.
LeBron or a Magic Johnson or something like that, then you keep the rookie. But if none of those are in the draft, you go after the free agent. So you just go all in. Um, that's what happened, and it paid off.
Yeah, it paid well. Oh, I think we lost AC for a minute, huh?
No, I'm here.
No,
Oh, okay.
I'm just changing my lighting, so I just focused on Rob real quick.
Oh,
he
gotcha.
just he gave the low man a little spotlight. So how to accept that.
You got the spotlight.
He gave me a little spotlight.
Hey man, we got a special guest.
I'll be
Yo,
Marcus Spears today.
What up?
What's going on, man?
what is
Your
going
twin,
on?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
Okay.
you.
clearly.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What's going on?
Yeah.
E?
Nothing much. I'm on like a little break. I gotta be back on this Zoom at 12:30, and then I, just checked Facebook and I saw you guys were on, so I started listening.
Nice, nice. Rob, you met my brother before?
I may have. I think so.
Hey, how you
Right.
doing, fellas, man? All right.
You guys look exactly alike, man. Who's 5 minutes older?
Me, Bear.
There you go. There you go. Do you actually whoop on him?
All the time.
Because it's not right to have a little brother if you can't enjoy the fruits of your labor. So you got to beat him in foot races. You have to beat him in wrestling, beat him in slap boxing. You got to kick him in the butt when mom's not around. You got to do everything and take full advantage of being the older brother, the older sibling.
I used to have to be the older brother to both of them.
There you go. There you go.
Shout out. Absolutely.
Man, I heard you guys talking about the Dodgers. I was 17 in 1988. I was a freshman at UCLA the last time they won.
Go Bruins.
And there's no way you could have told me after living in LA through the 80s when we had the Raiders, the Lakers, and the Dodgers, I would have made it to a few months before my 50th birthday that the Dodgers would be the first time they won again.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Graduating JV.
Yeah.
I was graduating junior high school last time they won.
Wow. John Burroughs, right?
Yeah.
And then
So yeah, and here's the thing. As much as I share the Lakers with you guys for a lifetime, the baseball thing was different. Like I was kind of a free agent for ever, and it wasn't like I went for good teams. It was like I followed players. So like I was a fan of Ricky Henderson, and just where. So that's why I started and Dave Stewart. So that's why I started liking the A's, and then Pedro was leaving the Expos, and so that's when I started liking the Red Sox, and then I just stayed there. And then once Mookie became my favorite player, I was like, watch the Red Sox trade him, because the Red Sox like to get rid of my favorite players like Pedro. And so when the talks heated up, I was like, okay, they're going to trade him. And I told Rod and Trey, I said, when they trade him, wherever they trade him, I'm coming home to the Dodgers. And I was already raising my 2-year-old as a Dodger fan. So I was like, well, it just makes sense. And then I was like, wow, Mookie's going to go to the Padres. And so I'm going to have to root against him, but still root for him as my favorite player. So then when it became Mookie to the Dodgers with David Price, it was the best of all worlds for me. And so I promised them, I was like, watch, Mookie and I are here now. We're home. It's coming. It's about to happen. And
his text message was no effing way or something like that. He put on a text message.
yeah, just love it. But you're right, E. Like, and I was going for the A's, I'll admit. And so in '88, when that happened, I thought that Kirk Gibson, with what he did against Dennis Eckersley, was really getting something started, and I thought it would be like something of dynastic proportions. And I expected the Dodgers to win 3 or 4 in the subsequent 10 years. And so the fact that nothing has happened since then,
nothing
aside from getting cheated by the Astros, like it's amazing. But I'm glad it's finally back where it belongs.
Absolutely.
The Dodgers were good at trading away great players too. I mean, they had Pedro and Ramon.
Well, yeah,
exactly.
And the third baseman, I forgot his name. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. They trade him to the Texas Rangers. I don't know why I can't. But he was in the league for like 17, 18 years. Gold Glove. I don't know why I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but you know who I'm talking about. He was a young star. They were slow about trading Piazza, which I didn't understand.
Well, you understood.
I mean, yeah.
You understood. I understood that, and I wasn't even like with y'all, but you know,
yeah.
it was the Tommy Lasorda connection, the Italian connection, and he's light skinned, so they were gonna keep him.
Yeah, at the time, it's like, why are they keeping him? Like, this dude's got bad knees. He can hit when he feels like playing, but he's a defensive liability. I guess what I realize is they fall in love with hitting. The media and the people who push people like that, they fall in love with the bat, and they just forget about the other aspects of the game.
Yeah.
Well, E, I know you only got like 4 or 5 minutes before you got to get on this Zoom call, man. So what can you give us on the Dodgers?
I'm just
as far as this victory, man, that we got.
There was a debate on whether or not the Lakers championship or the Dodgers championship meant more to this city. And as much we talk about the Lakers and what happened with Kobe this year, I think it's the Dodgers, because the Lakers never really like broke your heart. Either when they were the best, they won, and then when they really weren't good, you were just hoping like, oh, okay, then maybe they'll make it to the playoffs. But there wasn't an expectation for them to win. You didn't think like Kobe was going to take Smush Parker to the promised land. It was different. But the Dodgers should have at least three World Series in the last 8 years. They won the division 8 years in a row, and then they always got to the playoffs and just for whatever reason didn't do it. So, and there's a whole generation of people where this is their first time. If you're under 32 years old, this is your first time.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's a large demographic that watches sports.
Right. If you're under 32, literally it's your first time. But if you're under 32 and you live in LA, you were here, the Lakers got you 6.
And it's funny you say that, because I've always like questioned and asked is it more Laker fans or is it more Dodger fans? It's definitely more Dodger fans. It's definitely
Yeah,
more.
because I think that there are more baseball fans here than basketball fans. Like that's just it's the nature of this town.
I think with baseball, it's locally. We might have more Dodger fans here, like in the city, but like nationwide,
Nationwide is Lakers.
it's Lakers.
Definitely.
It's Lakers.
Right here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I absolutely agree with that. I
But
mean, I'm talking about
basketball
our demo here. Like it's more baseball fans, and then
basketball fans are so fickle, though. I mean, like, you know, they go with whoever's hot at the time.
So Rodney Rodney also chose the Clippers. So let's be clear, he chose the Clippers and the Nationals. Let's just get that on record. All right, go Rodney.
I did at the time. I did. Like I said, if the Dodgers had probably run into somebody with some real pitching, we probably would have lost again.
We ran into the best pitching staff in the major leagues. You stop. I told you Mookie was a difference maker, and he was.
I would not call Tampa Bay the best pitching staff in the major league.
Well, here, and I know you're gonna say, well, the stats don't say it all, but
the stats don't say it all.
They were the best.
The stats don't say it all. You can see the eye test will tell you that they weren't the best.
Come on.
And the Dodgers left baseball off the hook, because if the Dodgers would have lost Game 6, I don't like, when would Game 7 have been played with that whole Justin Turner thing?
Right.
He definitely couldn't have played, but anybody exposed to him probably couldn't have played. They probably would have had to postpone Game 7.
Right. Yeah. Both teams would have had to quarantine. Yeah.
Because he played 7 innings with everybody out there. They were all exposed to him.
Yeah, game play a 1 game for a championship in like 3 weeks.
Right.
That's crazy.
Well, so speaking of that, shouldn't he be suspended? Like, not for getting it, but for coming back onto the field and.
I think they're investigating now, and they're gonna see, what led him to get back out there and what protocols were broken. But I think there's a suspension or a fine coming.
And I thought it was really interesting that Friedman said, well, he's a free agent, so we weren't going to stop him. Delicate balance, huh? You'll chance it because you want to re-sign him. Wow.
You know what the trip is? It's crazy.
That's the bell. I'm about to run back over there. All right, fellas.
Thanks for coming on, E.
We appreciate it, guys. Later.
Come back anytime.
Later.
All right.
It's crazy. It's to me, the deal wasn't so much of him coming back out there, to take a picture. But if you look closely when he squats down with the team, he kind of gives a look on his face like the hell with this mask before he yanks it off. Did anybody catch that before me?
Yeah.
You can look in his face and see that he's doubling down and saying to himself, man, F this mask. I'm taking this thing off. Like he really is making a point when he does it. He's not just, you don't see any kind of hesitation where it says, oh, this thing is uncomfortable, or is there a way I could do this with, do something with the mask to adjust it? He just like, man, bump this. Okay, go ahead, snap.
Yeah, I get that. But in that moment, the way that he's been on this team for all these years and been through all these hurdles and obstacles and things like that, for them to come in the 8th inning and for them to take him out of the game and then him not be able to celebrate with his team and he can't go over here, has to go in the back and do this and do that. I totally get it, but you have to understand his frustration that he had at that moment. Like, you play your whole season to be able to run and celebrate on the field with your teammates.
Keep your mask on. You just tested positive. Keep your mask on. Like I said, I'm willing to compromise. Run out there. Don't touch anything. The mask is what protects us.
I totally get that. I mean, he didn't.
And baseball messed that up because those tests should have been confirmed prior to the game. You don't bring that out in the 8th inning and then decide, oh, wait a minute, he needs to come back. They messed that up.
I mean, I totally get that.
And baseball messed that up because those
wait, I hear playback
confirmed prior to the game.
Go ahead.
We on tape delay for Hawaii.
I'll take this out. So say if you're in a basketball game, right? And you're playing. It's the 4th quarter, right? It was a 1-run game at the time, or 2-run game. It's a 2-point game. Their star player that could have been up, it was either him or Seager that was going to win MVP, right? It's on the court. He's at the free throw line.
Well, let's be clear. Or Kershaw.
Yeah, I don't think Turner was in the running. I think it was either Kershaw or Seager. Seager was a front runner.
I bet Mookie came in third.
Okay, but check this out. And then you call a timeout. And during that timeout, they come and say, "Oh yeah, well, we got their test back, and got to come out the game right now." How would you feel?
Okay, Trey. So I feel like you're missing I'm not aspects of this whole thing.
I can understand his frustration and him saying like, "Man, this mask or whatever."
Not the mask.
Trey, what?
Coming back out of the clubhouse, maybe, but not the mask.
But wait, he did it for a picture.
But keep the mask on.
Wait, what'd you say, Trey?
I said he did it for a picture. He did it for his picture.
No, Trey,
keep the mask on.
Hold on. That's not the only time he took the mask off. Let's be clear. And he seemed to, like Rodney said, he seemed to be like he was about to eat some barbecue chicken pizza. When he took that mask off, he started salivating, and it was like, watch me.
Yeah.
So
he doubled down on it. You can read his thoughts and tell he was like, man, I don't need no D mask.
I don't need no stinking mask. Yeah. So, Trey, here's the thing. We talk about understanding frustration. Yeah, that's one thing. Let's understand the frustration. But be frustrated, be in all the pictures and all that, but have your mask on. Like, you could have put a Dodger mask on top of the blue mask, like the Dodgers did. Like the doctors did the other night on the sideline for the Bears. They had the medical mask on, and then they had the Bears mask over that. I'm like, cool. He could have done that. You're endangering people. And how did he get it? Like, I don't know. Like, you're in a bubble. You got it. Nobody, I don't know if anybody else has it or not, but like, you're jeopardizing people. But I guess he's one of the people who just doesn't care.
I think. Let me jump in here, man. My whole thing is this, man.
Let me introduce you because we got audio too. All right, so check it out. The Collective Podcast, episode 36. We had Trey's brother on a minute ago, E-Hop, Eric Hopson, Big Bro. Now we have Anthony Cobbs on, and you know him. He came on last time. This is our guy, AC Sports Live. T. Cobbs, talk to him.
Well, I'm questioning the timing of the COVID test. 2nd inning, 8th inning, inconclusive, non-conclusive, positive. If I'm Justin Turner, I'm pretty skeptical too. I don't think this is legit. I think somebody is doing something shady. It's shady. Everything about the whole thing is shady.
Exactly.
If he can't be the only one. They've been quarantined for how many months? Something's dirty here. Like, why during the game? He should be not playing from the very beginning. Like, he should have been quarantined the previous day. How do you come to a clubhouse in the 2nd inning with we have a little bit of a question that we might have a problem with one of your key players? It's just too much that is not being told here.
And where did they play? Where was the game played?
It was in Texas. I mean, it just seems real sketchy to me that one of the key players from the Dodgers in a closeout game, during the game, someone comes and grabs him in the dugout saying you can't play anymore. I'm like, this sounds so dirty. So what if the Dodgers lose? Are they going to postpone, or are they going to do the 14-day, or are they going to play the next day without him? Or is this an election distraction where the Dodgers can't play till after the election? So all this other hoopla is like everything is so sketchy. So I don't condone what JT did, but I understand his frustration in the inconsistency and the non-disclosure and all the other stuff that's happening. If he has done nothing to get COVID all of a sudden, I would be just as frustrated as him. Now, I probably would have kept my mask on, like AC saying and Rodney saying, but to me, the timing, the coincidental fact that he's a star player on a closeout game of a World Series, it just all sounds so questionable to me, man. So again, I'm not gonna give him no fine him, give him his fine. Everybody's gonna quarantine anyway when they go home. So I understand that the moment is once in a lifetime, and I would have been just as frustrated and understand that y'all got to be kidding me. Like right now, during the game, now you're gonna say I have something. So I think he doesn't believe I think he believes he has a false positive. I think he was thinking he got bad information, and I'm not gonna let y'all ruin my once in a lifetime opportunity. So if they're gonna find him, and I'll just pray everybody's okay. I don't think he's saying that it's not important, that it's not deadly. I think he does not believe that his test results were accurate.
Cobbs, you couldn't have said anything better than that, brother.
Wow.
Well said, and now
even with guest speakers, that's the collective podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
That's just my take, man. I mean, just like I don't believe Trump had it. I think that was a plea to get out of a debate. You know, it's like sometimes I'm so slow to believe people now. Y'all forgive my glasses. My wife make me wear these glasses now because we all wearing LED glasses now because our computer usage is too high. So I'm up here looking like a B-boy from the 80s.
Oh, okay. We got another comment in here. Sam Gard. Hey, stop thinking. Sam Gard, but I like how you covered up though. That's a smart girl. Thank you. Sam Gardner III out of LA. Well, originally from LA, but now he's out there on the East Coast on the Philadelphia, New Jersey border. What's up, my brother? He says he agrees. He says he agrees with what Cobbs just said. So shout out.
That's just my little conspiracy theory, man. I just don't like. I mean, I'm all for protection and safety, man, but just don't do me greasy, like, and come back saying it's a false positive. Like if Nick Saban can coach 2 days after getting COVID, somebody ain't telling the truth here, man. Somebody, it's
that's crazy.
It ain't lining up to me, man. Be honest about it, especially when lives are at stake.
Yes.
Yeah, that's crazy. Then Nick Saban was out there right away.
The next day.
I think the part that got me really was Justin Turner was like, man, I ain't going through all this. I feel fine. Like, I ain't coughing, so let me do what I want to do.
You've been high-fiving and spitting around in the clubhouse sharing sunflower seeds for 3 weeks.
Sunflower seeds.
I mean, dang, at first they couldn't even do high fives. Like they were like no high fiving during the baseball season. And then all of a sudden now they high fiving. Now they spitting. Like I remember all the first time they're going to play baseball. No spitting, no high five. And I'm like, yeah, they doing all that stuff. That's not going to work. So I'm like, let's be careful, but at the same time, realistic, man. And don't do me greasy with no false positives in no opportune time.
Okay. Kayla, say hi to everybody.
Hi.
Yeah, beautiful.
She was like, yo, you didn't introduce me. I'm Kayla 1103.
Yeah.
November 3rd is coming.
Yeah.
That's next Tuesday.
Yeah, Dad.
Yeah, babe. Your birthday is coming and you going to school?
Wow.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, my birthday cake at my school. 11 to November.
Yeah, November 3rd. So yeah, your birthday, you're going to have a birthday cake and then you're going to go to your new school. That's awesome.
When Mommy can say happy birthday to me.
Yes.
And it blow the candles out.
Yeah.
Like the incense.
Like you blow the incense out. Yeah. Like you blow Daddy's incense out. Yeah. All right. So yeah. All right. So let's catch up. So Sam is asking, aren't the tests intended to present the results prior to the first pitch? That's what we all thought. Like we can't really fathom. Go that way, Caleb. Go that way. We can't really fathom being in a situation where you're getting results in the 8th inning, like during the game. But of course, that is Caleb. Go, honey. Go. No, we're not playing with this, honey. If you're going out, go out. I'm recording.
It's like having the remember that phone, the red, was it the hotline phone in the NBA bubble when people were reporting stuff? Like somebody reports in the 8th inning, your Snell tested positive. He out there pitching a gym. So I have reason to believe he has COVID-19. Let's get him out the game. It's it's just so sketchy, man. I would have been hot. I would have been that dugout going hard. I would not have left that dugout. They would have to come get me. They had to come get me. I'm like, I done struck out 3 times. I'm gonna get me one more at bat.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah,
he wanted that Silverado.
Yeah, he did.
Right.
That was a nice truck, bro.
It was a nice truck. I was bad.
They got the CZ1 on the side. What's that? Let me look at this.
I might put a flag in the back of that truck. I'm like,
that's the top of the line.
Top of the line. Man. But that's the only black eye to the whole deal. I'm still happy as a lark. Championship, man. I mean, they're trying to put a black eye on my situation. I'm like, man, just get it fine and keep it moving. They're gonna quarantine.
Yeah.
They're trying.
He didn't fly back with the team.
He trying to be suspended for half the season and some craziness. I'm like, come on, man. Exactly. Suspend the doctor for not getting the results back before the game.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, they got to play a part in it. They can't, if they do, put some kind of fine or something down, they got to take part in that. They can't just completely blame him.
Yeah, okay, so listen, I agree with it all, right? I agree with everything that has been said, but okay, you believe it's a false positive. I get it. But even with that, and I feel that you are more logical than most, Anthony Cobbs. You said even with that, you feel it's a false positive, you're still going to wear your mask. Trey is still going to wear his mask. Rodney's going to wear his mask. You protest in some other way. You get vindicated later. If you have on a mask in the pictures, it's okay. We still know it's you. You're the red mustache is coming above the mask. The beard is coming below the mask. Listen, I get it. I get it all. And I am like the one who wants to avoid all people during this time. So I know that I'm extreme, but I just feel like you can be more responsible with your protest. Like, okay, don't keep him. You're not going to stay off the field. All right, I support that. You're running onto the field, but please run onto the field with the mask because now I feel like you're endangering not just your teammates, but now their families are out there, the kids are out there. Like, and of course you were already playing, so you can say it's not any worse than it was. I'm on base. I'm talking to people from the other team. So if I got somebody infected, I already got them infected, but not necessarily. You could infect other people if you are indeed infected. But I get the fact that it's a bad look. And to Trey's original question, I think it was Trey, what would have happened if, oh no, maybe it was Rod, if they lose this game, which Mookie wasn't going to allow to happen, clearly. If they lose this game, then what?
Jeez, man.
They're like, well, they're already quarantined, so they can still play, right? Maybe that's what they would have said. They're in a bubble, so since they're all in the bubble, they can play this game, and then they can all just stay in Arlington, Texas.
Yeah, they'd have had to really postpone it for 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was so many questions because remember, as they prepared for the season, they were thinking, well, how can we stay safe with the baseball being exchanged? Like we're throwing a baseball to each other. Yeah. We'll just change baseballs out every play. Like there's no real way. Like, how long does COVID-19 survive on a baseball? How long does COVID-19 survive? If you're in the dugout with people, you have a dome that can close. You have fans coming from the outside doing temperature checks, but you're still going to close the dome. So it's an inconsistent messaging of the severity, the proximity, how long does the germ survive, all that stuff that we don't know. We don't know how Justin Turner got it, if he has it, if he does have it, they all got it because they've been so close to each other, high-fiving and spitting and sharing tobacco and all the stuff they do as baseball players. It's like one of the dirtiest sports we can play next to football. So they're all been affected. Like my wife makes me quarantine when I come in the house. If I've been somewhere where it's a bunch of people, I'm at the front door getting undressed.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's even effective because the clothes are still in the house. So it's like, I don't know. So just to be safe, so everybody feels comfortable, I'll do the right things. And in this case, again, JT's just frustrated and he'll just take the L. But the baseball's so mad at JT, but baseball played. If anybody want to be mad at the American people, that they played in the first place. But since it's safe enough to play, then we can't really be mad that somebody caught COVID-19 because they could have it brought in any kind of way by the food that they bring in the bubble, by the workers that come in every single day. Because these temperature checks are a joke. They're not testing for nothing. It's just seeing if you come in there with a fever. It's not saying anything. So they didn't do the real testing like they do for colleges right now. Like at UCLA, they digging in them kids' brain every day to have practice. So, it's all like,
what they should have done, if anything, is if everybody's test didn't come back with a result, then you postpone that game and nobody plays.
That's it.
Nobody plays that day because all the tests aren't back. It's not. You don't want to take the chance, so we postponing the game till tomorrow. Everybody understood.
If we all being safe about it, that's what we do.
Yep. But you don't come in the man in the 8th inning, 6 outs away from a World Series, not a regular game, a World Series, and say you can't play no more. Because I know his natural reaction was, man, y'all bullshit.
Yeah.
Stop playing.
Stop playing.
6 outs. And they really had to probably come to him and be like, no, sir, we're serious and you have to get off the field.
Right.
Yeah. And I was like, man, as long as it wasn't Mookie. If it was Mookie, I'm calling conspiracy against the brother. Hit him with the brother.
Man.
Get no shine.
Exactly.
Oh, like, what if it been Seager, like the MVP? Yeah, it's Seager. Okay. Come on, man. If it was game 7, they would have said it's Walker Buehler. If it was game 7, Walker Buehler test positive. I'm like, are you serious, man?
Yeah.
It could have been Rios. They should have said Kenley Jansen had COVID. I'm like, hey, it's all good. He ain't pitching tonight, no way. As long as it ain't ODS, I'm good.
Man.
Oh, man, these young boys gonna be all right.
Yeah.
They drinking straight like Everclear and they out here doing some crazy stuff. They'll be all right.
AT is definitely drinking Everclear. But I love the fact that Anthony got him sharing sunflower seeds and sharing tobacco. Can you do that?
Let me get a dip. Hey, right out my lip. Here you go.
Hey, get it moist for me.
Yeah, pine tar, everything, man. They in there doing all kind of stuff, man.
Yeah, man.
Baseball players are gross.
So baseball, man. Listen, this was great for the Dodgers. This was great for the city of Los Angeles. I think this was great for baseball. The right team won, and I think that what's touching to me is that as much as people say, including Eric, and I'm mad at Eric for this, Trey, as much as people say, well, Dave Roberts has been the guy that ruined all of this in the past, and there's no difference between the last teams and this team. Well, Dave Roberts already told you. First of all, he got cheated against Houston, but he told you I never had Mookie before. And I've not only been on this podcast, but been on the side telling you how much of a difference maker this guy is. And I'm just happy that he was able to show that. It wasn't about him being, him batting 1,000 or anything like that. Every hit was a timely hit. All of his base running majestics were amazing and timely. Every ball that he ran down, whether it was catching it and robbing or it was getting a great angle and cutting the ball off, like he was phenomenal. He's infectious in the clubhouse. He's amazing. He's my favorite player. He's an all-time great. And one thing that was great for me was to see Magic Johnson's tweet Phil, how you feel about LeBron? And we've debated this quite a bit on this podcast, but Magic's tweet was LeBron, greatest player in basketball, Mookie, greatest player in baseball. I believe that. I believe that there is actually you can argue that there are people better than Mookie. Wait, right now, honey, not right now. I can't do this on camera. Go to mommy. Go to mommy. Babe, stop showing it on camera. Go to mommy. Hey, oh my God, Kayla, you can't do this on camera. Excuse me, guys.
Well, I know it's a big argument right now about Mike Trout being the GOAT of this era. And I was kind of arguing a little bit back and forth that, you know, he has competition with Tatis and Betts and a couple of other guys. But I'm kind of like, I think winning does play a part, even though baseball is very individualistic. I just know that Mookie Betts is actually maybe the prime time of baseball right now. Like when Deion was switching teams and winning championships, it's not that he's doing everything. It's just that personality, man. He's that locker room guy that gives everybody that little bitty extra something that gives them the belief that they can win. Because like Deion played corner, returned a couple punts, caught a post route once in a while when he played offense. But it wasn't like he was, you know, the best player on offense when he went over there and helped. He was just the best corner. And he brought, you know, a freedom to a defensive coordinator that he can not have to call plays to the other side of the field because Deion got the whole side of the field covered. When Mookie Betts, he allowed Dave Roberts to be, you know, meticulous and cerebral when it comes to his managing. He didn't have to be a rah-rah guy no more. He had a player to do that. And had a player that can rah-rah and play is something a coach just dreams of, man. So I agree. Right now, Mookie, to me, is the best player in baseball because he has that element. Nothing against what Mike Trout does or Tatis or anybody else that's in the conversation of best player right now. But I think if you are not able to enter a clubhouse and change their culture, their mentality, their approach, I believe his work ethic approach was one that, you know, was before Kershaw got there. Mookie was there. And Mookie left after Kershaw left. Like nobody outworked Mookie, and it was an example that he brought to the Dodgers that they didn't have before. So I think, like you're saying, AC, that, you know, he's a difference maker. And I think you can't really quantitate that. It's something that's not in the stat sheet. And with the championship, I think it really means a whole lot for us fans. Now, some folks ain't gonna give him his props. You know, he's a leadoff player. He's small. You know, the things that, you know, he's not a power hitter per se, but he can hit it out. But they're going to say what they can't say about Mookie, that he's not as good as Trout or these other guys. But to me, that teammate thing, it equates to wins. So he gets my vote.
Yeah. Well,
Trout's a power hitter. But let me tell you, when Trout gets a single, he's stuck on first base until somebody hits him around, where Mookie could wind up and be on third in 2 pitches.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think that what wasn't on display in the World Series, and maybe not even so much this year, but that we've seen in Boston for years, is that he can hit for power as well as hit for average. And then of course he's outstanding on the bases and he's a Gold Glover in the field, but he can also hit for power. You know, he didn't have that kind of necessarily, well, he didn't have the same kind of season this year that he had in his MVP season in 2018, but he still did what he needed to do to lead the Dodgers. He actually led the Dodgers in home runs. He was tied with 16. Led them in home runs as well as was second in average, led them in stolen bases. And that's the thing, like he can't always steal bases when he's actually getting home runs. So that's the other thing. Like there's so many things that he brings, but you guys know how I feel. You heard Cobbs, you heard Trey, we've heard Rod in the past. It's amazing. My hat's off to the Dodgers for getting the deal done. As much as as much as we talk about Rodney pulling for the Nationals, we know Rodney's not a Nationals fan. Like, be clear, we know he's not a Nationals fan. But the first thing that he said to me, I remember I was at Kayla's school, one of her last days. When I was walking into an event when I got word that Mookie had been traded. the first thing that Rodney said was, we gave up too much pitching. And I said, you got David Price coming. He said, well, I don't know what we're going to get from David Price. I said, I'm going to tell you what you're going to get from David Price, ... David Price opted out, but he was ready. He'll be ready next year, so we can do this whole back-to-back thing that hasn't been done in Dodgerland ever, like since they moved from Brooklyn. But Rodney was skeptical, but I said, here's the other thing. This dude has, what do they say, 5-2 player? This dude has 6 tools. Mookie, watch how many wins he adds to whatever the projection is for the Dodgers. Just wait, just watch. It's going to happen. Everything this dude did in the World Series was timely. Shout out to him. Shout out to the other 3 Dodger fans right here. This was a great accomplishment for this organization. This is great for the city. All of you guys out there celebrating the Dodgers and celebrating the Lakers, please try to be as safe as you can. I do want to comment on one thing that Omar said. Omar, you don't know me, bruh. I don't take my mask off around my sister and my mom, and we're 7 months in. Like, I'm very, very cautious about taking my mask off, and I know that they've been quarantined. But so I can say with conviction that if I were in that situation, I would just run around with my mask on. Like, I run 7 miles a day with my mask on. I've taken this football season off apparently, but we're about to start basketball season in a couple of weeks, and we're gonna have the masks on the court. You know how it goes. So you can have the mask on and still celebrate, still have fun, all of that. So I believe what I say, Omar. I feel what you're saying. Like, once you get wrapped up in the emotion, maybe you don't wear the mask. But I believe that we here on this really do mean what we say. We would go out there and celebrate, but we would have the mask on. So we would protest in a different way. All right. Anything else about baseball before we move on to the NFL?
Well, just real quick, I'll just say with the comparison to Trout, and we talked about this, AC, on the other day after the game, and I was telling you I was listening to I listened to talk radio probably the majority of the time in my car.
Yep.
Whether it's football, in the NFL, if you got XM radio, it's just like a sports heaven for any sports fan. And you can just take your pick on who you want to listen to. So I'm listening, and they're saying, well, I still give the edge to Trout. He doesn't steal as many bases as he used to because he's bigger, he's heavier, and it takes a toll. And I talked to AC about this, and I thought about it. And I've watched both now. I've watched a lot of. So glad that DirecTV and the Dodgers worked out the contract, and I finally get to see the Dodgers on a regular basis. So the first thing that stood out to me when Betts came to the Lakers is his enthusiasm and his genuine love for the game. Like, Trout and they're both veterans, so we can't use, well, Trout's been there for a while and he doesn't get up like he used to. I mean, like, people who love sports and love what you do get up regardless of how long you've been doing it. If I started playing basketball again and actually was, coming in the gym feeling like myself and doing some folks or someone talked a little trash to me, I'm going to still feel like the old Rod from 90, 91 when I could still dunk on a few folks and give it to people. And I'm going to talk trash probably more than you're talking to me. And I'm going to probably try to do everything to you I possibly can, if nothing else, just to see if you can take your game that other notch. And I've always respected the people who could talk trash and take it up a level versus the people who just talk trash and stay the same. If you're going to talk trash, I feel like you should have another year. So with that being said, you don't see that infectiousness from Trout at all. If he hits a home run, he comes in, he gives a high five, he goes to the dugout. Mookie high fives and goes crazy when his teammates hit a home run. When they just hit a stand-up double, this dude is like Like you almost got to grab him by the jersey and pull him back into the dugout because he's that happy.
Yeah.
And when you get your superstar player giving that to you like that, you having fun. You know, when your superstar player is that happy about the game and works that hard, you want to play with a person like that. Trout has had different superstars put around him, from Pujols, and he didn't have an old bloated Pujols that's there now. You know, he had a Pujols that was freshly signed as a free agent pretty much his whole career. And he had batters around him to help him achieve a lot of those numbers until he was able to do what he does. He's extremely good at different things, but I don't think he's great at one particular thing. If you can understand what I'm saying, he's a great hitter. But then when you have Mookie is elite at running the bases, elite at defense, and very good to great hitter. You know, when you put all of those things together and the intangibles that he brings to the dugout, you have to say that Mookie is the better player. And how I started, and even when people are talking about who's the best in the NBA, who's the greatest ever, and my thinking is, if you had to pick a team right now, who would you start with? Which is why I never understand why you never hear Shaq in the equation, because Shaq is a difference maker. You know, besides his laziness, as far as just pure basketball, there's no stopping that dude at all, ever, with no one. I don't care when people say, "Oh, what about Wilt? Wilt weighing 260." We saw what Shaq did to people weighing 260 or 280 or 320. It didn't matter. He still killed all of them. But my original point is, when you have eliteness in that many categories, you have to be the best player. You know, they spoke a lot on I can never say his name right. Aroma Reina. Is that how you say it for Tampa?
A rose con pollo, but it's a Rosa Reina.
A Rosa Reina.
Yeah. And he hit great in the postseason. I mean, like, he was pretty much unstoppable. Anytime he got up to the plate, he got something.
Yeah.
I blame Kenley for giving him life.
But you know, he was elite level in the postseason and a lot of Tampa players were. I mean, even Snell, which is why when you said they had great pitching, I'm like, that dude, his ERA was 4.74 in the regular season. That ain't elite.
No, Snell, you have to say Snell was elite in that game.
In that game, yes. In that game.
Well, okay, hold on, Rodney. Let me respond to that. If you couple Charlie Morton and Snell with by far the best bullpen in baseball, I said they had the best pitching staff in baseball. You can't argue with that. Like, I hear what you're saying, but they had the best pitching staff in baseball. Period. They weren't elite offensively. They struck out more than anybody in Major League Baseball and had the second best record. And it was because if they had a lead going into the seventh inning, they lost 0 times. They had the best pitching staff in baseball. I'm not saying individually they had the best pitcher in baseball. I'm saying they had the best staff. And you cannot argue that. I mean, you can argue anything that you want. You could argue that Mike Trout's the best player in baseball, but they had the best pitching staff.
And them taking Snell out the game, that was huge for us because I was worried.
Analytics.
I was worried. Do I think that was a bad move by their manager? Yes. Because let me tell you, if you struck out our top 3, 1, 2, 3, and strikeouts on them all, I'm gonna let you face them a third time.
Well, and no managers have lived to tell the tale.
Right.
Because when you face Mookie that third time, in a closeout game. This is all I'm saying, man. Mookie is different, and he was the one coming up. So you can say it was analytics, but you could think, okay, he did just give up a hit. There is a man on base, and Mookie is coming up, and Mookie is clutch with a K and 3 exclamation points.
Well, yeah, I mean, I tell you how clutch he was because they brought in another pitcher, and he got a hit off him too. He got a hit off somebody fresh.
But that's analytics is today's game, though. This is why I don't like to put all this heat on Dave Roberts, because Dave Roberts is just taking what baseball has gone to, and everyone has followed Dave Roberts. Like, Dave Roberts was the one coming in Major League Baseball with all the shifting and all that kind of stuff routinely. There were some people who did it here and there for a certain batter, like, oh, this guy only hits the right field, let's just move this way. But Dave Roberts put it in for everyone. You know, his scouting report was for every batter in the majors. This is where he likes to hit the ball. This is where we're going to line up. And like I said, when you win 105 games in a season out of 162, or you win in 95 consistently, you're consistently winning the division title, and you're consistently going to the NLCS, I am not going to question what you do, because you've been doing the same thing all season, and now, because it's the playoffs, it's magnified. And now when you do it, we don't like it, because just
Rod, do you agree though that this time Dave Roberts used his feel to not pull Ortiz for the last inning? Like, his book said put in Kenley Jansen. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all had the same anticipation, like he bet not put Kenley Jansen in the game because analytically, because they did the same thing on the Rays. Like, the Rays said third time around they're going to get to Snell, but the way Snell was dealing, if I'm Kevin Cash, I'm gonna roll my dice on this one time, because it's not the regular season. This goes back to your NBA analogy. James Harden averages 50 points a game in the regular season. Giannis Antetokounmpo averages 50 points a game in the regular season, but the playoffs changes a little bit, and how you feel and how you see what's happening should dictate. So do you think Dave Roberts kind of used some feel, some gut this time around? Because Alex Cora with the Red Sox, he was shifting his pitches around because how he felt and how the game was going, and they destroyed the Dodgers in the World Series 2 years ago. Right. So I do believe there's a fine line between analytics and gut and feel and see.
Definitely. And I feel like that in any sport. I mean, because it's like that in basketball. That's how we got to 3-point shooting every play. I hate it. I hate to watch it, because I don't like a game where you can go like 7 straight minutes and just watch miss 3 after miss 3 after miss 3, especially when I'm reffing the game.
That's a shot at the Houston Rockets, y'all. Yeah. 26 in a row.
You can go 7 or 8 straight minutes and just have miss shot after miss shot after miss shot. I've seen in the finals with Golden State when they were playing Cleveland. I've seen it on different levels where you can go long stretches and no one makes a basket. And I don't like that, because it's not because of great defense. If it was great defense, like the Knicks had all 5 players back and they're getting in your jock, that's something different.
Okay. Rodney, I'm gonna let you continue, but I have to reel you in because you sidetrack us all the time. We're closing out baseball, then we're going to football. But go ahead and talk about basketball.
Or even football. I mean, the same thing. Analytics there too. It's what can drive up an offense, and I like to see balance. And everything is a feel. A quarterback has to have a feel. A basketball player has to have a feel. Baseball too. And I hope that this will be a lesson, and maybe because it's not Dave Roberts this time, maybe because it's Cash, people will, because it's it's like a slap in the face when a black coach, or I hate to throw it like that, but that's just the way it is. When
Say it.
It's almost kind of like, well, we expect this because we knew they weren't going to win with him. Now that a white manager has lost using analytics, maybe people will start to say, you know what? Maybe we got to lean off the analytics a little bit and go back to the field thing a little bit more. I mean, analytics has its place, but
okay, so we're gonna close this out, but I know you said it's multi-sport, so that makes sense. The problem that I have, and this is when I was a Red Sox fan, this is what I was saying to y'all. I don't feel like this is Dave Roberts' fault. Like, I don't agree with that. Now, I wasn't as entrenched as you guys, but I can see. I just didn't feel like everything should be on him. Like, at some point, you have to put all the pieces in the right places, but people have to do their jobs.
Right.
So I get what Cobbs is saying about Kenley, and no, I did not want to see Kenley. Hey, Kenley, love you. Did not want to see him.
He's our closer.
However,
he's a designated closer.
But here's the thing.
Closing that.
If you look at, let's go back to really quickly. Let's go back to that game. What was it? Game 4. Let's go back to game 4 and the disaster. First of all, if your boy, Chris Taylor, with his eyeshadow, just fields the ball, he can throw the man out at home. That's the first thing. Then Kenley has a save. Let's start with that. If he fields the ball, he throws the man out at home, Kenley has a save. No, I know y'all didn't want to see him, but let's
lost the save. Yeah.
He kicks the ball. He kicks the play. Then he gets it in, and somehow Will Smith, no, not that Will Smith, no, not Will Smith from the Atlanta Braves either, our Will Smith decides he doesn't want to catch the ball. He wants to do dance fever and let the ball spin away. That's the second error on the same play. If he catches the ball, you don't even have to field it. If he catches it and applies the tag to Mr. I'm the greatest hitter in postseason history, but I can't run the bases, he tags out Arozarena. We go to extras. It's a blown save, but it's not a loss, and we see what we can do in extras. Right. That's not Dave Roberts' fault, and it's actually not even the majority of Kenley Jansen's fault. Yeah, Kenley let him put the ball in play, but if people do their jobs, we don't even have a game 6, most likely, because it's probably closed out in game 5.
I agree.
Yeah, well, it always falls back on Dave Roberts because that's the job of a skipper.
You're right.
To take the fall. That's because Andrew Friedman gave him a list of what he wants, and the ownership gave him a list of what they want, and he's just following his pattern. This is what I have. It's like it's like Eric Bieniemy with Andy Reid. He got the play sheet, but those are Andy Reid's plays. He's allowed to run the plays that's on the card. He ain't allowed to call nothing that's he think might work. So that little book that Dave Roberts be opening and writing and left-handed in there, and I'd be looking so nervous. Like I look at him like he be looking at the game. That's his Asian side be coming out. I was like, oh, here we go. Look at him. Look at his numbers. He's counting the numbers. He's gonna put in Kenley and. You
did not think he was putting in Kenley, Cobbs. You
gotta know, like when he put Baez in the game, I'd be like, he putting Baez in the game right here. Like he gonna put Baez in here because we got a 5-1 lead. Put Baez in. Let's make the game interesting. I mean, he played well in game 6, but that game 4, I'm like, oh my God, these boys gonna lose this game. And we was playing so well. And it's just like, no, it's not Dave Roberts' fault. Guys got to make plays. But if you have a feel for what's happening now, like right now, you see the frustration on the Rays hitters' faces.
Right.
But you pull a guy because he's thrown the ball 25 times. Or it's trying to get him out of there. It says here that on the 26th pitch, he's gonna throw a meat home run, high fastball right here. So let's get him out of there. Let's put Kenley in. He's gonna throw that 91 mile an hour cutter that don't cut no more.
All right,
come on, man. It's gonna be on Dave Roberts, but this year he listened to his gut, and now he's a G. He's no longer the simp.
Well, you know what? Real quick, it's scary to think about how they will look next season with all of those guys being free agents where they can go get new relievers, a new closer who can actually make that thing cut and still be
Hey man,
you know, in that salary range that they want to be with the team.
And don't forget, I've told you this, and I don't know that you believe me yet. We also have a third ace who you haven't seen pitch. A third ace, David Price. So we don't even know who's. We imagine going into it, it's 1, 2, 3 with David Price being third, but we'll see.
I wouldn't mind if Urias became the closer, man. That dude got ice water in his veins. He does not care. He going there and throwing bombs. That last pitch was so nasty. I don't know what it was going to be, a slider or what.
And to your point, AC, I've been telling Rodney for a couple weeks now that I just thought that guy was Gratterall, and I don't have any negative thoughts about Gratterall, but I really feel like Urias has proven that. I just let's leave it at that. I agree with you.
Yeah. And the dude is rookie. They're all under 25.
They're a little young guys.
First of all, somebody posted on Facebook that night, like, how many pitchers do the Dodgers have? And the response was, I don't know, but they're about to use all of them.
15.
They had an endless,
we had 15 on the roster.
Yeah, that's what it actually
was.
One
quick question that one of you guys could tell me. Where was Alex Wood all this time?
Dave don't want to use him, man. That joker looked hard to hit to me.
Yeah. That dude was on the bench the whole time. I didn't even think he was still on the team.
Yeah, man.
I
think we had two guys named Wood. I think one was Alex and the other one name was something else. One was an underhand thrower.
Well, the funny thing is, I didn't even realize. Like at one point, I was like, Rodney, where is Joe Kelly? Not saying that I want him to be the closer, but I was like, is he still on the team? Because I hadn't seen him in a while. But then he finally pitched. But so I want to close out this point. So I've been defending Dave Roberts this entire time, and so I got 2 points to respond to. I've been defending Dave Roberts this entire time, and not just because of what he did for me as a Red Sox fan in 2004, once the Dodgers traded him to Boston, but just because I believe in his baseball mind, and I believe that he's done what he can with the restraints that he has from ownership,
right?
And people just have to do their jobs.
Right.
One of the things you mentioned, Cora, and I'll tell you that's a lot freer of an ownership group in Boston. They gave Alex Cora the freedom to do essentially whatever he wanted. Look at the analytics, play the shift when you want, but really just go with your feel for the game. And I think, like to your point, that was on display in 2018. And maybe not so, and definitely not so much for Dave Roberts. We'll see if that changes as he gets his contract extension, and maybe they let him do a little more. But it was clear for sure that Dave Roberts did what Dave Roberts needed to do, had a feel for the game, made the adjustments that he needed to make. And I think that mentally, if you tell Kershaw you got 22 batters, and he stuck to that, I think that was important. I know that you guys feel like he shouldn't have taken Kershaw out because it was only 2 pitches in that final inning. But when you look at mentally, I'm ready for 22 batters, and I just faced 22. And Dave Roberts told me I'm coming out after the second batter, and I'm going out on a high, and I'm going out as the pitcher of record with the lead. This is all very huge for Kershaw's confidence. It's great for his legacy. And if he needed to pitch again, he went out on a high. So I thought it was a genius move by Roberts to take Kershaw out at that point and then trust people to do their jobs. And it worked out.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to move on now to the NFL. And we already voted. We're not talking about the NFC East much at all. But
get y'all,
have
man.
Our internal power rankings.
Get y'all, man.
It's cool. We have our internal power rankings. Oh, wait, it deleted. All right, let me type it out again. Somebody talk about the NFL before I show the internal power rankings.
Well, forget y'all, man.
Eagles.
They gonna give us a dub. The Cowboys signed Cooper Kupp's little cousin, Tanner Kupp, or whatever his name was. I would like to see the Cowboys sign Colin Kaepernick.
Man.
And take a knee in front of Jerry Jones.
Well, I told you guys, from the beginning, Don Terry Poe took a knee. He was the only Cowboy to take a knee. He got cut. He got cut today or yesterday because they said he was overweight.
Like he played this long.
Let's see if he gets another job.
Oh man, he'll be assigned today. As soon as he gets cut, he's gonna get picked up. I'm surprised they cut him this late. I thought they were gonna cut him the next day.
I did too. Honestly.
So what was really interesting, I hadn't seen First of all, I was at Monday Night Football, right? And so being on the sideline in an empty stadium was crazy. I don't know if any of you guys have experienced that yet, but being at that new stadium and it being SoFi Stadium and it being completely empty, it was eerie. And we were all just like waiting around for the national anthem, and people hadn't knelt yet. But as soon as we were back from commercial, people did, some Rams did go ahead and take a knee. In the first half, I was on the Bears sideline, so I couldn't see what they were doing. But you had plenty of Rams taking a knee. But again, that's a different kind of group. And so, they have the autonomy to do what they need to do. Let me give you guys the collective podcast NFL Power Rankings. As you guys know, we only vote on our 3 teams. I'm a 49er fan. Rod is a Raider fan, and Trey is an Eagles fan, and Anthony Cobbs, who is our frequent guest, is also an Eagles fan. So internally, there are 3 votes, and we're going to show you the latest rankings, and we're going to let you know who the first place votes are in parentheses. So here's what we have. The 49ers, after last week, had 2.5 first place votes, which means I voted for them. Rodney voted for them. And Trey actually had the 49ers and the Eagles tied. So that's why you have a half a first place vote for each. Rodney and I voted the Eagles second, and none of us voted for the Raiders at all, which means they were third because they had a bad loss. So this is where we stand. Trey was right or correct, and so was Anthony, that coming out of that week where they celebrated being 1-4-1 and in first place, they did get that second win and take a commanding division lead at 2-4-1. So shout out to the Eagles for having that stranglehold on first place in the NFC East. 49ers 2 in a row, 4-3. The schedule is tough. It's already tough. We just beat the Rams and then the Patriots, and it's going to remain tough. I was disgusted by a poll that I saw that said, I don't mind you saying the Eagles have a better shot at making the playoffs because somebody has to win the NFC East, but they had us at 32%, which was nuts. And I'm like, let's do the math on all these teams that you think, because you have an extra team making the playoffs this year. So 32% is nuts. They had the Raiders at 40%. Again, I don't get it.
I feel like you just took a shot at the Eagles.
Yeah, he did. $2 bet. The Eagles going to upset somebody in the first round.
First place.
$2 bet. $2 bet we going to win the first round of the playoffs.
That was a shot right there.
We going to be 6. What's the math? 6, 9, and 1 in the playoffs. We're going to make an upset first round upset.
Well, here's the thing.
You got to come to us to play.
That's the key. Somebody has to come to you.
And they're not going to be good.
So with the extra team, how is it set up? Only one team has a bye now, right?
The top seed.
Yeah, so the top seed has a bye. So that would mean that it's 2 versus 7, 3 versus 6, and 4 versus 5. You guys would obviously be 4. And so 5 would be likely the Rams, Cardinals, or 49ers, whoever's second in the NFC West, assuming the Seahawks hold on. And, oh, by the way, I told you guys the Cardinals would beat the Seahawks, and you guys thought that was funny. I was right with all the predictions last week. I had the Cardinals, I had Tampa Bay, I had the Eagles, and I had the 49ers. You guys remember that?
Yeah, but that Cardinal game wasn't no easy win. The Seahawks won if it wasn't for that bad block.
Oh, we could do all kinds of ifs.
But that,
if we were healthy, we wouldn't have lost the game.
Well, you want to talk about healthy. We got practice squad receivers on the Eagles. We are lining up with dudes that making under $100,000 a year.
AC Sports Live. We're on our 5th center. We're on our 7th running back. We have.
You want to say who's more injured?
We have defensive backs that were cut from the Eagles practice squad. There are defensive backs now.
That's bad. We got some bad DBs. I mean,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Cut from your practice squad. Those are
bad. I mean, you get covered from Jalen Mills. You know you bad. Jalen Mills is trash.
So we saw a little parody. in the NFL. The Rams beat the brakes off of the Bears. What else did you guys see that stood out for you in week 7 of the NFL?
All I needed to see was DK walk down Buda Baker. My whole weekend was complete.
Wow.
Yes, he did.
That was
awesome.
That was lovely. That was a lovely play. That was a lovely. All you saw was.
now, what's his mile per hour? Because I keep hearing how fast Danny Dimes was against the Eagles. Talking about he ran 22 miles per hour. Come on, man. Y'all seen speed before. Rodney, you and AC are both refs. You guys seen speed before.
Yeah.
Danny Dimes is not the fastest guy you've ever seen in your life.
No.
After the Cowboy games, Snoop was on Instagram. He said, if you own a Cowboys jersey and live in the Dallas area, be at practice Tuesday at 10 a.m.
Start. Start.
I was impressed with the Steelers. Once again, I'm a Mike Tomlin fan. I'm not a Steeler fan, but I'm a Mike Tomlin fan, and I love the fact that even in the couple down years that he has had, that ownership group has stuck with him. Now, historically, they've stuck with their coaches, but historically, black coaches don't get that kind of love. So I love the fact that Mike Tomlin has had carte blanche and has had another chance to rebound, and boy do they look good right now.
They do. I hate to say it, but yeah, they do.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of room for you don't have to be the best team to have a great season. You don't have to be the best team to perform in the playoffs. So, I think everybody on this call just wants to be in it, and then we have a shot, right? We have a very outside shot at hosting in the first round. It's probably not going to be a thing, and we have a shot at actually playing at Philly. And the thing is, all you guys want is to hold on so that you can make the playoffs, because you hope that you're not as injured as you are now. And if you're hosting, like Trey has been saying since the beginning, anything can happen. So as much as we joke about that home game could mean something, but let me give you the new information. We're probably going to have a playoff bubble, so it ain't going to mean shit. And so you're going to have to just step up and win the game. It's not widely held, but there is likely going to be an NFL playoff bubble. And SoFi Stadium is probably going to be one of those sites. And since they host both NFC and AFC teams, I don't know if it's going to be for both sides or how they're going to do that. But it's likely that you're going to have the Dallas. What is Dallas Stadium called? Dallas Stadium?
Cowboy.
Dallas Stadium and SoFi at two of the sites, just like they did in baseball. So stay tuned. What'd you say, Rob?
AT&T Stadium.
AT&T Stadium. So AT&T Stadium and SoFi Stadium are two of the favored sites for the NFL playoff bubble. Stay tuned to see if that really is a thing. But it may not be the first round like they did in baseball. They didn't have these sites in the first round. But in the next 3 rounds they did. So if you have a bubble, then that home field advantage won't mean as much necessarily. Hey, white t-shirt crew, Colin. So anyway, just stay tuned. But to your point, all you got to do is win your division in the NFC East, and then you guys are in the playoffs, and that's important. You just make the playoffs and see what happens. I do believe that, Trey. As much as I argue with you because you're a really poor sport, you do tell the truth in that regard. Just make the playoffs, and so I feel that same thing, and Rodney does too. All right, anything else about the NFL?
Yes, Tampa Bay the team to beat now?
No, Pittsburgh is the team to beat.
Okay.
Who's the scariest team right now?
You mean in the NFC? No, it's still Seattle.
So AB does nothing?
Seattle's making.
I know that he's your favorite player, but it doesn't mean that he does nothing. It's just they're not just the team to beat just because they got Antonio Brown.
Question. He's going by having him on the team. You gotta say that's
So let me explain something to you fans, the Collective Podcast. I guess we have fans now. Thank you for tuning in live. Thank you for watching on YouTube. Thank you for listening on Spotify or Anchor or any of the other DSPs. We call Trey the Waffler. Why? Well, Trey he's convicted in that he is a Dodger fan and he is a Laker fan. But you can buy his love in football. So I'm pretty sure that Trey is going to have a Tampa Bay hat and jersey soon.
I just
Antonio Brown, even though he's an Eagles fan, a Rams season ticket holder,
everywhere
like the Raiders, like Trey is all over the place in football.
I would never wear a Tampa Bay hat because I can't stand Tom Brady. But my thing is, AB is still good, y'all. AB is still good. Take up his off the field problems away. That dude was a beast in Pittsburgh.
AB should be at Shady Acres getting some rest. They should not be signing AB.
Hold on, Rod. Thank you for that, Judy Carter. I appreciate that. Thanks, Mom. Shout out to son. Thank you for that. My mom said that I'm very articulate, knowledgeable, and passionate. Well, thank you, Judy Carter. I got that all from you, English teacher and professor. And this is the shout out to the great group of young men on this Collective Podcast. Thank you, Judy Carter.
Thank you.
Okay, Rod, go ahead.
Yeah, he should be at Shady Acres, man. They
AB.
No one. There's at times there should be. That's when there should be a blackball. When you know that somebody is kind of damaged, the owner should get together and say, "Hey, man, you know what? This dude is off limits with all of us. Like, let's make a pact."
Eagles still playing, Rod?
They did that on Kaepernick.
Huh?
They had that meeting about Kaepernick.
Yeah, if you're gonna have it about Kaepernick, have it on Antonio Brown. Switch that around. Like, Kaepernick is in his right mind. Antonio,
out of his ever-living mind.
You know, when they do stuff like this, it's just proof that they care more about the money than the players. And I know it's a business, but you have to have some kind of heart. I mean, like they signed, New England signed that receiver like a couple days after he was found asleep at the wheel, drunk in Arizona. What was that receiver's name?
Who was that?
The receiver for the Cardinals. He was their first round draft pick. And dude had just drove and tore up some stuff and stopped at a light or something, had his foot on the brake, knocked out sleep. So he was so drunk that they didn't hear him. He didn't hear the police tapping on the window trying to wake him up.
That was over the summer, huh?
This was a couple of years ago, about 2 years ago. And they finally got his car door open, and they didn't want him to wake up and punch on the gas. So the police officer, you know, according to the reports, kind of like jumped in his lap in the car and hurry up and put his foot on the brake and put the car in park so that they wouldn't have an accident. But
are you talking about Demir Bird?
Who?
Demir Bird?
No, this was his last name Lloyd? Was it Michael Lloyd? No, wasn't Michael Lloyd. He was a first round pick of the Cardinals, and this happened maybe 2 or 3 years ago. As soon as the Cardinals released him, New England picked him up like a day later. Like, dude,
Michael
get
Floyd.
that dude some help. Who?
Michael Floyd.
Michael Floyd. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like get the dude some help. They got him. He did the same thing AB did. He got out there with Tom Brady, went for like 7 and 150 and a touchdown. And then, you know, the next game he didn't do as well and they released him. But, you know, they got a habit of signing these players that are mentally damaged, and they don't try to get the players any help. It's just kind of like, what can you do for me on the field? we'll just overlook the other stuff. I mean, AB still has to have his court date. It's in a month.
I think he's gonna be all right, man. I think he gonna have some conversations.
Well, you know, somebody's legal team is trying to get him through it, but I mean, even with the legal stuff, he was like still, according to the reports. Now, I'm not saying this like I know it, but according to the reports, he was still like calling the lady, harassing her, and telling her you better drop this and all this. Like, you can't do stuff like that. You can't.
I'm talking about AB, man. AB off the chain. So I agree with you that he needed some help, but I believe whatever Mike Tomlin had in place in Pittsburgh is, they can do that, because I'm pretty sure he had people in place. He had, things in place that could, catch him before they become a problem. So if you give the guys the help within the organization, you can do something. I'm not sure if Bruce Arians in Tampa Bay has that. We'll soon find out, because what's the definition of insanity? You're saying you expect a different result. My man was acting a straight nut. Yeah. But for all those years in Pittsburgh, we never knew that. Yeah. Only his team knew that. So we'll see what Tampa Bay has in store. I mean, I was hoping that he would end up in Philly, because I'm like, we got a strong ownership, we got a strong leadership. The locker room is pretty stable. I think, Fletcher Cox and them would have punched him in the mouth if he acted crazy. But he ends up in Tampa Bay. They got a good team going. He gonna act right because they got a good team. Now, had he been in Vegas, had he remained, wherever he would have been okay in New England. But I think Belichick was like, nah, I don't feel like dealing with that right now. And it is what it is. But I think, like you said, if he gonna get another chance, be fair across the board with it.
Yeah, Gruden was babying him too much. He was in love with him so much as a player. It was like, oh, you know what? I know you burned your feet, but
that was some bull too.
I've seen people run with burned feet. So
you burn your feet, man. I've been in them hyperbaric chambers before, man. Them things ain't that cold. What's wrong with that dude, man? Yeah.
I don't know.
That dude was crazy, man.
But he had feet like Tyrone Biggums when I saw him take those
slave feet. Somebody's calling my name.
Not slave feet. So Johnny Hecker is the truth. That is the Rams punter. Did you guys have a chance to watch that game?
He's the best. Better than. He was putting that ball inside the 10 every time, right?
Yes. Listen.
With the bread basket kick.
That dude was okay. So I it's not just me. Like I was super impressed, and I'm like, I hear things on the sideline, so I'm hearing, the plays that they're calling, and I'm hearing, what the positioning and all that, and like it was right on where they expected it to go, where they expected it to be. And one thing that I loved is that sideline was so supportive of him. A lot of times they don't really care about the kickers, even if they do things well, but they really do like Johnny Hecker on that sideline. So lots of hugs, lots of claps, lots of all of that for the things that he was doing. And I was very impressed with him. When did Foles become the starter for the Bears? Like, when did Trubisky get benched?
Like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's been a while now.
I didn't even know. I didn't even know. I saw Nick Foles lining up, and I was like, "Damn, Trey is having flashbacks." But then I didn't know. Like I didn't even know Trubisky was out.
It don't even matter. They ain't playing no ball no way, so they can throw Trubisky back in there.
Yeah. Well,
I like Nick Foles.
Yeah. What'd you say, Trey?
I said I like Nick Foles with us.
Yeah, we need to bring them back. We can go ahead and trade whoever y'all want off our team.
You might be able to get him for a 7th round pick now, the way he played last week.
Hey man, we got a statue out. He got a statue out front that's keeping Carson Wentz from balling. I can't ball if I keep seeing this dude's face every time I walk in the stadium.
Yeah, he didn't have nobody to block for him, man.
So, okay, now you guys, Eagles guys, is Wentz having a hard time because of the team, because it's just not a good team, or is he having a hard time because from the previous reports he rubs people the wrong way in the locker room, or is it a combination of both?
Combination of both. You in the huddle, you in the huddle, and you see a dude that was on practice squad this week, and you looking at him. You look over and Zach Ertz ain't in the huddle. Dallas Goedert's not in the huddle. You're like, who is this dude? Okay, Z Wright, left.
He still smelled like Church of Chicken. He was just working at Church of Chicken yesterday.
What's your number? All right.
Who's the center? Who's the center now? Like, who? Okay. I'd be nervous too if I'm in the huddle with some guys I don't know. I'm like, yeah, I don't rub everybody the wrong way, but all these guys in my huddle, I've never rubbed them before. I don't know these guys. I've never seen them before. Who is this guy? I got a receiver with an 80 number. Like, who still has 80 numbers? Like, I got guys out here. I got Derek Ward was a quarterback in college. Come on, man. So yeah, it's a both, man. Both. Go ahead, Trey. I know you got an observation of our Eagles. We're gonna be all right. I'm tired of y'all the Eagle bashing, man. We're gonna get you AC. Rodney.
We're not bashing. Listen. I'm on record saying you never know what can happen when you make the playoffs, and I believe you guys are going to win the division, which means you're going to make the playoffs. And listen, playing in Philly on the road means something. I feel like if you're in the bubble, though, then all it is you get to wear your home uniform. So that won't necessarily, and you're going to be in a climate control building if you're in the bubble. So, but here's the thing: you guys are. Listen, I'm in the best division in football, but we're in fourth place. I'm aware of that. You guys are in the worst division in football, but you're in first place. I'm aware of that.
See, there you go again.
No, I'm saying. I get it, and you guys have been depleted by injury. I get that too. We know that, but we know that better than anybody. Like we got like 4 starters left from the Super Bowl. 4.
4.
Yeah. And Garoppolo just got back because he's one of the. At one point we had 3 starters remaining. All right, so predictions. NFC, well, I don't know. Let's see. So Trey, do you think that Tampa Bay is the team to beat? Because I don't know that you answered that.
I think they're going to be better with AB. And if you get a committed, sane AB that knows his game plan when he comes in, and he can keep his off-the-field troubles off the field, then I think he's a huge threat. Tom Brady went after him for something. You know what I mean? He's the one that really went after AB. So he sees something in him that we haven't seen. And that's scary.
A great route runner.
Yeah, okay, so that's your take. I got you. I don't know that it's scary, and I think he can have a great season, but not make them the favorite. But okay. So that being said, how far does the Browns fall now?
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we're not even talking about the Dodgers, Daryl. But I guess that's the problem with a guy like you. You just get wrapped up in the emotions of whatever your Dodger hate, and so you probably have your speaker off. We're talking about football, but you probably have some silly takes on football too, just like you have silly takes on the Dodgers. So yeah, maybe it's best that you don't chime in. All right, sorry.
He asked the question.
No, he just said that it was best that he doesn't chime in with we Dodger dudes.
Okay, so this week, let's make some picks for this week.
Wow.
Eagles and Cowboys. I'm sure the consensus on this one is the Eagles.
Cowboys probably don't even field the team.
No,
it's a 4.
They said they're gonna send Texas A&M out there and put them in Cowboys uniforms for a better chance.
Okay, so
AC, Put that back up there. What you just with. Were the Dodgers the only one paying 60 games, or did everybody play 60 games?
I don't even know if this dude has a. Oh, he's a Giants fan. Now I get it. Oh, okay. Yeah, they all played 60 games, Trey.
That's what. So if the Giants would have won, what would you be saying?
Champs.
Yeah.
Right. The Giants are not gonna win anytime soon.
Yeah.
Not even come close.
Poor Daryl.
Stop hating.
Daryl Hopson.
Come on, and you almost have my last name. Come on. Cut it out. Cut it out.
Yeah. Here's the thing, Daryl. Real Dodger fans here, right? First of all, we don't even need to say the name of your team. We don't need to bash your team. If you guys would have won, you would have won. You guys actually did well against us this year. You made games competitive, and you didn't do much outside of that. And so in this pandemic season of 2020, you guys didn't get any accolades. And you were just, like somebody said on the post yesterday, you just sound like a bitter man.
Hey, you're nicer than me. You're nicer than me. You said, you guys, you lost. That's what happened when you played us. You lost.
Yeah. So anyway, Giants for life must be a miserable life. All right. Moving on.
Niners, Seahawks.
Niners. And I like being the only one. So you guys go ahead and pick the Seahawks. Like you guys did with the Rams.
Seahawks after a loss. After a loss, Seahawks.
Seahawks, yeah.
Yeah, Seahawks. And they made some trades to get some pass rushers. They
Yeah, and we had more
Gruden because he didn't go make that trade, and we need a pass rusher.
And we have more injuries. All the chips are stacked against us, like they have been for 7 weeks. Go ahead. Next.
Raiders, Browns.
I'm going to pick the Raiders.
Where is it at? I mean, no, the audience doesn't make a big difference, but it kind of does. Where's the game at?
Cleveland.
Baker Mayfield just lost his crutch, so I got the Raiders.
Who's his crutch? OBJ?
Yeah.
I think he played better without OBJ. Give me the Browns.
He does play without OBJ.
And now you got to spread it around.
That's when he's on the team, though. Like, he's injured now, so.
I'm saying, though, I don't know how that made him any better, but now he doesn't have to think about it when he looks at him in the huddle. When OBJ's like, bro, I'm gonna be open. Hold on,
let me say this real quick. Well, Mom, he does. He's a San Francisco Giants fan, so he is at least keeping it in California. I mean, he's a clown, but because he doesn't recognize when the best team actually won, he's a bitter San Francisco Giants fan. So he's keeping it in California. That's fine. He doesn't have to like us. Like, I'm not a Rams fan or I like the Chargers. I'm not a Rams fan. I wasn't a Raiders fan. I'm a 49er fan. So sometimes you do have to go up to San Francisco to grab a team. But he's a clown in every other aspect.
Yeah, I think Mom meant to put chumps.
Yeah, she put yeah. Oh, Daryl's a chump. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Go ahead. So you guys say Cleveland? All three of you say Cleveland? No, Rodney doesn't say Cleveland.
Well, if I felt Cleveland was going to win, I would. But
we know you chose the Clippers in the Nationals, so we know you go with your heart. So who you have?
No, my heart, my pocket. My heart always says Raiders.
I mean your gut. Not your heart.
Denzel Ward, he slips up at that corner spot. So
favorite DB.
Hopefully Ruggs will go ahead and get a couple touchdowns for me.
You putting us to sleep. Who do you have, Rod? You got the Raiders?
Raiders.
Okay. All right. So the consensus is Eagles, and then we're split on the Raiders, and then the majority is saying Seahawks. Yeah, I love being the underdog. I think we've been the underdog for 5 out of 7 weeks. All right, cool. All right. Anything else on football? College football? Anything?
I ain't gonna watch it till the Pac-12 start playing.
More positive tests, more games getting canceled.
Wow, Wisconsin boy. Yeah, so they were talking about the Big Ten. Here's it for those of you guys following the Big Ten. They're going to have to shuffle that schedule around, and the way that it works is you're eligible for the Big Ten championship game as long as you play. Let's see, how does it work? If anybody in the Big Ten plays 8 games, then anybody has to then anybody eligible. Anybody that, I'm sorry, if you want to be eligible for the title game, you have to have played at least 6 games. If somebody plays 8, if the majority plays 7 and nobody plays 8, then you just have to play 5. So you have to play 2. You can only miss 2 games more than the team that plays the most games. I hope that makes sense. And I know nobody necessarily cares about the Big Ten, but I just want to share that because I know how that works.
The MAC cut theirs to 3.
What'd you say?
The MAC cut theirs to 3. Have they already missed games?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's that. So last week the Mountain West came back. Big 12 has already been going. Pac-12 is coming back. Yeah. So we'll see how it all goes. See how it all works out. I predict Miami and Clemson in the ACC title game. And as anybody who knows me knows that outside of UCLA, I've always supported the Hurricanes. Actually, I've been a Hurricanes fan my whole life, and UCLA just since I got there. So go Canes in that regard.
You see the new uniforms, all blacks.
Yeah,
cold.
And speaking of new uniforms and speaking of all a different color, so I love those, and I even like the what was it? Was it Rutgers? No, it was Pitt. Pitt had these all gray uniforms that I really liked, and the commentators were bashing them. And it's like, I don't care about your opinion, commentator.
Ain't got no swag.
Yeah, like I don't care how you feel about Pitt's uniform.
They're still wearing Jordache jeans and polo shirts, man. Them guys ain't got no swag.
Exactly.
You got to get those uniforms to recruit kids too. You can't just be sitting up unless you're Alabama wearing your traditionals, or Penn State. You can wear your traditionals, but these kids today want to be swagged out, man. They want to have some flashy uniforms from them, throwback uniforms from time to time. So I think it's a recruiting tool. Oregon does it. Maryland does it. Now everybody does it. Baylor. Everybody has a throw-off uniform, and kids go crazy on Instagram with that stuff, man. So you have to do it if you want to be in the recruiting game.
And to Anthony's point, shout out to Under Armour for doing that for Maryland and setting that trend, and shout out to Nike for doing that for Oregon and setting that trend. And of course, it makes those organizations money, but it is great for the potential players. It's great for the fans. They love to have all those alternate uniforms and all of that, and that was really fueled by Under Armour donations to the Maryland program, because the creator of Under Armour is an alum, and then the same thing with Phil Knight and Nike with Oregon. So shout out. All right, the closeout. Anthony, you're here once again. We're gonna let you close out as a guest. Give it to him.
Man, I got nothing. I'm a happy guy. The Dodgers finally won championships. So all my little Dodger gear and jerseys and hats, I'm gonna get me a new one. I never got the World Series hat with the patch on the side because I wasn't sure about those teams. Now I can finally go ahead and get myself one. And anybody that sees the Eagles in the NFL playoffs, you're gonna be wishing you did not have them come into the stadium, because it's gonna be an L. The Eagles are on their way back. Peace and love, y'all. Y'all be good. I already voted. Hope you already voted. If you have not voted yet, get yourself down there and get it done. Big election coming up. Peace and love.
So, Mom, we love you. Thank you for coming on, Mom.
Mama Carter.
To your point, if it's us against you guys, you're wrong. I'm just gonna be happy that we did what we need to do to make the playoffs, because, like y'all said, you just need to get there, right? And then we see what happens. With the way that we started, I would like to, and with them saying we have a 32% chance, I would like to.
That's the Niners?
The Niners, yeah. For you guys, they said 48, and I don't understand that. You guys should be 78, because you have to win your division. and you guys are in the driver's seat.
We lost to the team. That's what happened. A division game. We lost a division game already.
I got you. The team. So yeah. All right. Trey.
Man, cloud 9. Still on cloud 9, man. Congrats to these Dodgers, man. They got me feeling good. Yeah, I just want everybody to, I'm going to just, repeat what everybody else said, man. Be safe. Happy for the Dodgers. If you didn't vote, make sure you get out there and vote, man. It's important. You're not voting for us. You're voting for our kids, man. You're voting for the future. You're voting for change. And it all starts with today. So if you want change, man, then you don't want to be one of those people that's on the sideline saying, oh, man, I wish we had this. I wish we had that. And you didn't vote, then you have no say so. So get out there, man, and vote. And everybody be safe. And the way this COVID stuff is spiking up, wear your mask.
Yeah.
Wear your mask. Don't care about yourself. Care about others. That's it.
All right. And before you go, Rod, let me throw this in here real quick. So check it out, y'all. This is so this is 5 years ago on Trey's birthday. We were at Dodger Stadium. So that's me on the left. That's Trey. That's Trey's brother-in-law, Bo, and then that's Eric Ehop, who came on the podcast today. This was a really great time. I enjoyed supporting their Dodgers because I've always rooted for the Dodgers, even though I was a Red Sox fan. I've rooted for them, and so it was great to be there with them. And it was great to pull this picture out and throw it up there once we were up 2-1, and I said we were 2 wins away. Obviously it wound up being 2-2, but then we won the next 2 games. This was a great day. And I'm glad that we'll always have this picture, and I'm glad that we brought a championship back to the Dodgers. So just wanted to share that. And now, Rod, go ahead and close out.
You know what? By the time we see each other again, we will probably know who our next president is. And I say probably because they'll probably still be counting some mail ballots or some absentee ballots. But we should have a good idea. I hope that everyone out there goes to the polls and vote if you haven't already. Stay safe, man. AC Cobbs and I just lost a good brother that we grew up with.
Slice. DJ Keith
Slice Thompson. Really, really great guy. Just all around. Never changed. And I've been knowing Keith for as long as I can remember, since I was a kid. He was 3 years ahead of me at Poly, and gonna miss that dude, man. But that's why I don't take a breath for granted. I'm happy every day. So don't take life for granted. Go out there and vote. People sacrifice for it. Stay safe.
Absolutely. So for me, thank you, Rod, and I'm sorry for your loss, Rod and Anthony. And anybody else who knew DJ Slice, my prayers are with you. My prayers are with the family. Please vote. My mom would like to share who she's voting for. So here you guys go. She's letting you know. As everyone has said, please vote. No, we didn't vote. My family didn't vote yet, Anthony, but we are voting today. Brianna's leaving town in the morning, so we're voting today. I'm sure my mom has already voted. I know my sister will vote soon if she hasn't. It is important. And somebody brought up a point recently, like, oh, when you say you don't care who we vote for, just vote. It's not true. Well, no, it is true. Like I may think you're insane for some of the choices that you make, but I think it's important to express yourself through voting. And aside from voting for the presidential election, there are so many other things that you need to vote for. Like we have propositions that cover the whole Uber and Lyft thing and in the gig economy, and finding out, like, are people going to be treated as employees, or are they going to be treated as individual contractors? So that's important for artists. And like I said, the Uber and Lyft drivers and other services like that. So however you feel, that's important. I think they should be treated as employees, but I'm not saying that anybody else should feel that way. So you don't have to agree with me, but please express yourself, because what I hate is finding out that people are not happy with how things turned out, but they didn't vote because they say, "Oh, my voice doesn't count." Well, guess what? You know it doesn't count if you don't vote. That's one thing we know with conviction, that if you don't vote, it doesn't count. So keep that in mind. Please vote. Please wear your mask. Super important. Wear your mask. Try to not just protect yourself, but protect the people around you. I don't know if it was a good idea for sports to come back, but I'll tell you that for the sports that have come back, it's been very healing for us. For those that have contracted this horrible virus, I pray for you. For those that have lost people, I pray for those that have been lost, and I pray for those that have been affected by it. For those that have beaten it, I pray that you continue to remain healthy. I don't want this to impact anyone. And to Rodney's point, yes, when all is said and done, by the time we get together again, we probably will know who our next president is. And I just hope that everybody exercise their right to vote. Another ballot we have, another proposition we have is whether or not people who are on parole can vote. Like, that's something that we're covering in California. So it's important to try to impact change by voting. Okay, everybody be safe, wear your mask when you need to. Hug, if your parents are still here, hug them. Parents, if your kids are still here, hug them. It's amazing. My daughter is amazing. Her birthday is coming up. I love all of you guys on this podcast. Thank you, listeners, for tuning in. Thank you, viewers, for tuning in. We appreciate you. We love you. This is episode 36 of the Collective Podcast. Our guest, Anthony Cobbs, T Cobbs at AC Sports Live. Thanks for coming on. Once again, we love you. We out.
Peace.